Hello and welcome to another edition of All About Berea. I'm Chad Hembree and I'm here with our Magistrate, 1st District, Mr. Larry Combs. And Larry's actually running for Magistrate again this year, and we thought we'd get him on here to share a little bit about what's going on and what you have in store for us.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Chad, and thank you for inviting me. And a beautiful day. A couple days ago, we wouldn't be sitting outside.
No,
but I am tickled to death to be here and answer any questions or give you my feelings about the district and Magistrate, what we have to do and what we should do.
Okay, well, let's just jump right in there. What is your number one goal for this next term if you reelected as Magistrate?
Well, my number one goal the last time was to bring driver's license to Berea. And I'd like to take all the credit for it, but I can't. I have to give credit due where credit is due, and that would be Darlene Snyder. I worked on this project for almost 5 years to bring driver's license to Berea. You can take your test, you can take the driver's test and everything here on each and every Friday in Berea. And I'm telling you, this has been a big struggle to get it because, you know, you have to deal with Frankfurt, the state police, and everybody. The local officials don't do that. And I got to give credit to Darlene. She wouldn't give up on me. And I told her, I said, Darlene, this is something I told the people I was going to bring to them, and that is what I did bring to them. And I've never told the people anything that I haven't brought to them. Now, my next project, I don't care to tell you or anyone else, I want a new ambulance service in Berea. We've outgrown the one we have. We need a new ambulance service, much bigger. I'm not saying it will be as big as the one in Richmond, but we need a new one. And I can just about assure you that's going to happen.
Okay.
We have looked at some land, and we're willing to purchase land. Of course, we'd like to trade what we got to somebody else, and that's a possibility also. But now we're going to do this without raising taxes. We done the one in Richmond without raising taxes. Matter of fact, we lowered the tax rate just a little bit. So, you know, my goal is, I've never voted for a new tax in Madison County in 32 years, and it'll soon be 33, and I'm not going to today because we have had enough growth in Madison County to offset anything we need. And I just wish other people could do that. You know, a lot of times, you know, you take some of the other counties, they don't have the wealth that we have. And we've had so much growth here in Madison County, we don't have to have extra taxes. When I took office in 1981, our tax rate was 12%. Today it's 8.1%. We've come a long way. And we've got more today than we've ever had. Let me say this about the 1st District. The 1st District includes almost every bit of the city limits of Berea. And we've been so fortunate to work with the city. You, as a council member, we appreciate everything you do for us. And we've been so lucky to work with the city officials and the city of Richmond. I can't just say Berea because I represent the whole county. So, you know, we've been so fortunate, and I am so tickled, and people are more willing now to help each other more than they ever was. There's just so many projects we can work together with. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's 911, and let me say this about 911. One of my opponents, all he wants to do is gouge 911, and he is a city council member, and you are. The 911 saved the city of Berea $350,000 a year. How many policemen will that put on the road? How many vehicles would that buy? That buys a lot. And then CSEP is providing all the radios and stuff. Why would you criticize something that you benefit from? 911, the chief told me 2 weeks ago, he said a minimum of $350,000, and you didn't lose a job. Everybody got placed in another job. That's the greatest thing ever happened when we consolidated. Oh, I'm tickled to death with it. I know we have problems, don't get me wrong. There's no system we have in the county today that don't need improvement. No, none in the city doesn't need improvement. They all need improvement, but you got to go as you can. And money is the key, and you know that, and I do too.
Well, let's touch on the money for just a second, because that's the concern that I hear is how we're going to fund 911 in the future. So many people are not using landlines anymore for telephone.
True.
You know, every time you switch from a land telephone to just a cell phone, you're not paying that tax that you used to pay towards 911. And that's actually becoming an issue.
It is an issue. And one person you interviewed said we don't get any money from our cell phone. Well, that's untrue. let me say this about the cell phone. We do get money from cell phones, but it all goes into a pool, then it is divided up. And we've had a big problem with, say, Paint Lick area because of the prefix numbers. They're getting some of our money, and I'm sure we're probably getting some of theirs, which we won't. But I don't know exactly, and we've got a committee right now looking at this. You know, they come back first time and said, well, we'll put it on the water bills. Well, people's having a hard enough time with water. They can't put it on electric. People's having a hard time with their electric bills. There will be a way, and Carl, who is head of our CSEP, with our nerve gas and stuff, has brought us close to $500,000 extra dollars in. So I don't see that there's going to be a problem with the 911. And if you've ever used it, and I have used it, I used it on myself and my twin brother Jerry, the sheriff just passed away. Yes, you don't matter what the price is, you pay it. But some people can't pay that, and I understand that fully. But we will always fund the 911 some way. And with the city of Berea as large as it is, and you take Richmond and Madison County, we won't have no problem funding. It's just a matter of prioritize whatever you want, cut back on some stuff, put more money in 911. You have to fund the essential services in this county, especially for the elderly.
Okay.
And I'm all for that.
All right, thanks. And you talked about the ambulance service. The new one in Richmond's actually right beside the old one in Richmond, correct?
Absolutely.
Across from the stadium.
Yes. The deal was there, we gave Eastern the one we had. They gave us the land, and we had enough money at that time to build it. What got us into the problem, and we're going to get into it in Berea also, is because we had male and female. And you can't, they got to have separate housing. And that's the reason that we done what we done. We've got one of the best directors, Jimmy Cornelison. You won't find nobody any better. And he come up with this idea to do that. And in honest, the money that we take in more than paid for that. And that's why I say I'm confident that we will have the same thing in Berea.
Well, one thing I want to point out, and I haven't said anything to you about it, but I have to my wife a couple of times, that if you look how this county's growing, go look at the old ambulance station and look how it was constructed and the materials that were used, and then look at the new one and how it's constructed and the materials that are used. And this one looks like a building that'll be there way beyond my time. Let's put it that way.
It will be beyond mine, I can assure you that.
And the old one just looks like an oversized house, basically. It's stick built.
Absolutely.
And to think that our county's growing in such a way that we can have those type of buildings is interesting to me.
Well, it is, and I think that's what we need to do. We need to plan for the future, and I think that we are. When our nerve gas is gone, I know that's going to be an issue for a lot of people. When our nerve gas is gone, all right, what are we going to do there? Well, I tell you what the court's doing. We're already looking at ways, but let's get rid of the nerve gas first and get rid of it in a safe manner. We're already looking at ways that we can utilize that land there. And the first thing is you have to get the land from the government. Well, we feel confident that we can. But, what would be wrong with us getting a Kia plant or some manufacturing in automobile? Be the greatest thing. Well, look how many people we would employ. Now,
Absolutely.
We probably would not employ some of the people they have there today because it's different engineering, but we're already looking at that. And
but you
I
could
think
keep some of the people.
Sure, there'd be a
there's
lot
gonna
of
be a lot of them. Yeah.
Plus, they would be actually more people. You take a Kia plant, and I'm sure the state will work with us to give benefits, such as the Toyota, how they done it.
And Ford and
and there's no question. And it government land, and then if we could get it, it's already the structures are already there. But here's the problem: 2 of those have to come down, and we understand that they will be taken down where they dispose of the nerve gas. Then the rest of it is all free. So they got a good roadway in. Somebody even mentioned on your program that they'd like to see a airport. Well, you don't put an airport on an oval, and you don't put one like this. You put airports on a straight run. So yes, the construction's there, but you don't put an airport on something that goes in and out, in and out. But we're looking at that. We're way ahead on that. It could be some big things happen here.
Well, a couple more things I want to talk to you about. One, what about the Madison County Airport?
Well, finally, Berea, be honest with you, and of course you probably know this, I'm not saying this negative, but Berea finally put their money in
Yes.
to ante up, so we're all up to date. Now, I was asked years ago when we put the airport in, said, Larry, why would you support that? Well, at that time, I really didn't know why. But now, today, I understand. There is so many people fly in and out. It's so much traffic for our industry, and it helps them. It keeps them going. And I think as we extend the runway, and we've got new good roads out there now, they need more hangars. We've got Eastern involved. They're going to have over 300 students this year coming to participate. So that's just more money. And we know for a fact that it will fly. We possibly can make this a regional airport. And that's what we're working on. And that's what I hope to see.
Well, I know that Eastern's putting a lot of time and effort into that airport now.
And a lot of money.
Yep.
And a lot of money. And the counties are. The city of Berea is, the city of Richmond. Now, we may have to ante up just a little bit more to get our runway, but we feel like there's going to be some grant money out there to help us do that.
All right, next thing I want to ask you about the jail.
Oh, I wish you hadn't even asked that. Such a pretty day, you're going to ruin my day.
Well, it's a hot subject.
It's a hot subject. I'm going to agree with you. And, Chad, I don't have the answer for it. The answer is, I guess you turn everybody loose, but we know we can't do that. When my brother took office as sheriff, he brought in the home incarceration, and it's been the greatest thing in the world. I mean, we get 40 and 50 every day out. They're paying their own way. It's not costing the taxpayers a dime. Today, I checked this morning, we've got 267. We have 189 beds. So tell me we're not in trouble. Yes, we're in trouble. Okay, here's the deal on the jail. When Ron DeVere was jailer, we had no problem because he kept it to the minimum. But today, you can't. The drugs, the heroin, it's took our country. Shame, but it's took our country. Well, what do? You got to put those people in jail. Doug puts them in jail, and he double stacks them. And, you know, it's just a matter of time we're going to be in trouble. I'm not saying I have the answer, but I would say this. I think it's time that the county bite the bullet. Interest rates are cheaper today. Our bonding is better than it's ever been. Let's go outside somewhere, get a piece of land. We have land, the county does. Let's build a 400 or 500 bed facility. Then we can take outside prisoners to offset some of the costs. A jail will never pay for itself. Take the jail we have today, try to work something out with the state, and let them oversee the juveniles. I signed bills 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, $5,600 of your taxpayers' money for juveniles. And that's not fair, but they won't let us keep them. They say take them to Fayette County, we keep them free. Well, when Fayette County's full, you got to go somewhere else. So we go all the way to Montgomery County, and we have to take them up there. And, you know, look, that's a hardship on the sheriff's department. You take one, say, you get one at 11 o'clock of the night, you get another at 1 o'clock in the morning, they have to transport them. Well, the next morning, 8 o'clock, they got to be there to pick them up, bring them back so the judge can talk to them and sentence them or do whatever. 9 out of 10 won't never get out of jail, so you have to transport them back. We're putting a hardship on the sheriff's department, and it's not fair to them, but that is the law. City of Richmond, don't cost them nothing. City of Berea, don't cost them nothing. All your police officers in the city of Berea, they can arrest 25 tonight, take them over there. It's our responsibility as elected officials to oversee the jail, and that's what we do. But I don't know, and I hope everybody that sees this, somebody's got a clear answer, and they'll call me at 986-2297, and I'm open for any suggestion that can alleviate this problem, because it's a burden on the taxpayers of Madison County, and this is a situation that's just not going to be done overnight.
Well, it sounds like you have the first step, and that's recognizing the problem.
Well, we know that. Yeah, we know that, and I think we will. We'll eventually have to do something. I know the judge said, well, let's build a 100-bed facility. Well, that would help. Don't get me wrong, that would help. And we have enough land there we could build a 100-bed facility. But that's a mandate. Let's cure the problem. Like I said, Our bonding rate right now is probably as cheap as it's ever been since I've been in office.
For
32
city
years.
it is. I know it
Well,
is.
it is for all entities right now. And, you know, we have sovereign immunity. You know, we're going to get by with some stuff. I think we had a little incident day before yesterday, and it probably hadn't been in the news yet, but I'm sure it will be, and we're going to have those from time to time. But when you're overcrowded, I don't know how they do what they do. I really don't. I feel for them.
Well, I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Or?
Well, the only other thing I'd say is I've been there 32 years, and I don't know everything. But there's one thing I do know. I listen to my constituents, and I've always worked good with the youth, just like the driver's license. That helps them more than anybody. And it helps the mother and daddy, too. They don't have to go all the way to Richmond. And then a young kid, you know, they're scared to death they go to Richmond to take. I know I did, and that's been many, many years ago. So I'm not going to tell you how many because I'll tell you how old I am. But, you know, I just welcome everybody to get out and vote. You know, I wish we could get 60 or 70%, but we'll probably have 25, maybe 30%. And I hope that 30% is the people that knows Larry Combs, because I'm not a household name like Clorox, Ajax, or Joey, but I've been around a long, long time, and I think people know me and they know what to expect of me, and I'm going to do what's right for the county and the taxpayers of Madison County.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for being on here.
Well, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.